Hi everybody, I'm Tim from troutandfeather.com, and in this fly tying tutorial we're going to talk a little bit about a UV cure resin from Solarez. Stay tuned. As you saw in the introduction, I'm going to be talking a little bit about this Solarez bone dry UV cure resin. The size is ultra thin. On the product there are a few little notes about it, such as it's non-yellowing, you don't have to mix it, you don't have to apply alcohol afterwards to wipe it off. It's basically just good to go. When you first open the container, you may notice that it's very dark, and that's a good thing because it won't let those UV rays in there and harden all of our resin. And once you get it off, you'll see it has a very fine tipped brush, and that's probably my favorite component of this product, and you'll see how it works here in a bit. I can tell you one day whenever I had unscrewed it, I looked at that brush and everything was gummed up and I couldn't figure out what happened. I didn't know if I'd left this in the sun and it somehow got in, if the lid was off. So I went on Facebook. I believe Solarez has a Facebook group, and I posted the question, geez, what's going on? It's gumming up. And I immediately got the answer that I had stored it probably in a cold place, and that was why. And sure enough, I had. It had been in my basement over the winter. The advice was simple. Unscrew the top, leave it like this, put it in the microwave for about 10 seconds, pop it out of the microwave, shake it up, and it would be good to go. And it was. So if you have some of this stuff and it gums up on you, you did nothing wrong. It was probably just stored at a colder temperature, so pop it in the microwave for about 10 seconds, shake it up, and it should be ready to go. So I'm going to demonstrate this on a Perdigon style nymph. I'm going to zoom in here in a bit, but some of the other tools that I have ready whenever I'm using this, I like to keep a bodkin in case I need to move glue around. I'll keep a little piece of paper just in case I need to absorb some of the glue away from the fly. And then finally I'll have my UV light. In this case, this is one, I think I basically just got it on Amazon. It's a Tao-tronics. It's worked really well for me as long as the batteries are fresh. So keep that in mind if you're having problems with your glue. Could be the batteries in your light. So let me change the camera angle, zoom in a bit, and you'll see me use this Solarez product. So this is a Perdigon style nymph. It's a Honic jig hook, a hazard fly fishing bead, some Coque de Leon for the tail, basically a type of crystal flash for the body, a little bit of glow bright in the thorax section, and then I put some black nail polish over the top. And I like to coat these with some type of a UV resin just to allow those colors of this body material to pop a little bit, also to ensure that it's really smooth so it cuts through the water. And then finally, I like to build up this little section here, and it really tends to abbreviate that black nail polish that I have underneath. So let me show you how I use this Solarez. I'll basically keep my UV light really at the ready. To apply this, I really just want a little bit. I don't want a lot. So whenever I first take this brush out, I'm going to allow the brush to basically just hit the side of the container on the inside just to get some of that glue off. But some of that resin will basically sit there, so I can almost reapply it to the brush if I need so. Then my first few, I'm just going to very lightly touch. Basically cover the entire fly. And just watch to make sure it doesn't start building up and really going anywhere. In this case, everything just looks wet. It's exactly how I want it. Put my lid back on. I'm going to grab my UV light. I'm going to hit it for about maybe 7 seconds total. Just rotate it. This is in my Stonfo transformer vise. And at that point, when I touch it, it's not even tacky. It's basically ready to go right now. But as I mentioned, the other thing I like to do with this, I love to build up this section right here. So to build that section up, I'm just now going to start applying a little bit more of this bone dry. I'm going to let it, I don't want to say blob up a little bit more, but that's really what I'm going to do. But I'm just going to apply it and then quickly hit it before it goes anywhere else. So just quick application, hit it. Now because I'm doing this in a video, I'm probably being a little bit, we'll say, not as generous as I typically would do this at my actual bench. I'm also turning this a little bit more because it's probably not the best position for me to be sitting in right now. But I can tell you, whenever I'm really doing this, I'll Typically only hit it a few times, probably just reapply 2 times total after the initial, and then I'll have it where I like it. I just don't want to let it build up too much right now. But I believe this will be my last coat for this top section. Hit it one more time, and that's it. Give it one more quick 360, and it looks pretty good. I don't see any spots that I'm missing. If I want a little bit of a smoother transition, I may apply a little bit down here. In this case, I may have over-applied that. I don't think so, but just to kind of give you an idea of what I can do if I think I put too much before I hit it, I can just kind of move it around with my bodkin, or I can immediately grab my paper. Just kind of touch it a few places. Get that back onto my paper, grab my light, hit it one final time, and that's it. And then the most important part, don't forget to put your lid back on the bone dry. You don't want to accidentally knock this stuff off for the cost of this little container. So with that said, let's change the camera angle, and I'll talk a little bit more about this bone dry. So now that you've seen Solarez close up, let's talk a little bit more about it. For starters, why this one versus the others? And I don't have a great answer necessarily for you, but I think as I talk through some of this product's features, it will make sense why I went with this one, and it's going to relate to my tying. Whenever I think about my fly tying, I'm a trout fly tyer. I tie some largemouth, some panfish flies, occasional pike flies, and striper flies. So I don't have a million applications for the UV Cure resins. Whenever I think about some of my trout patterns, I'm using it on Perdigon style nymphs where I'm kind of securing the body, maybe for quill body dry flies where I'm placing a little bit over that quill to add to the durability. Whenever I'm thinking about some larger flies, maybe I'm using it to secure materials or to, we'll say, kind of enhance or add eyes to, and I can use this as a really strong contact point. If I'm using dumbbell eyes, I can use a little bit of this on the wraps in between it, hit it with my light, and really just lock it in place. So those are some of the applications in which I use this. But I can tell you there are so many different applications out there. But with that said, there's also so many different brands and types of these UV cures. I mean, this one is called ultra thin, there's flexible, there's thick, there are applicator heads. There's all kinds of stuff that you can get with these. And they're also a little pricey. So kind of keep all that stuff in mind. I believe this one costs around $15. Now, some of the reasons that I like this one, and I'll kind of go through that. The one thing that you probably noticed whenever I was tying with it, or at least whenever I showed you how I used it, it has an applicator brush. That's really nice because it allows for me to have a little bit of control over where I place this UV resin, and it's not kind of dripping all over the place. If I was tying larger flies, maybe I'd want to have some type of applicator nozzle or something like that that comes on some of the other ones, including some that I believe are sold by Solarez. But in this case, I'm not using a ton of that UV Cure resin all at one time. So this one kind of suits my tying from that sense. Next, it sets up really quick. You probably noticed I have my light on it for around 7 seconds or so. That's about all I need whenever I'm making it set up. In fact, I feel that if you leave your light on it for longer periods of time, it almost can diminish it in a sense. And I could be wrong about that, but that's just kind of my own personal thoughts and what I've heard from others. Now, the one thing I'll mention, if you feel that it's taking a really long time for your UV light to cure, more than likely check the batteries because maybe they're just older or they're draining a little bit. With fresh batteries, this stuff should cure really fast. Once it cures, I don't feel the need to add something like a Sally Hansen hard as nails over top to keep that high gloss. It really just seems to maintain itself. The flies look really good. They're very durable whenever I'm using this. And once I fish them, they tend to fish very well because of this stuff. So this is one that I would definitely recommend trying. You'll probably notice that over the last couple of years, I haven't used too much of this stuff in my fly tying videos. And it's not to say that I don't use this, it's just that there are so many different ones out there. And it's tough because I knew the moment that I started using one in my video versus another, people were gonna start commenting saying, why not this one? Why not this one? Why not this one? And I don't have a great answer for that because I haven't used a bunch of these UV Cure resins. But if you feel that there's another great one out there, by all means talk about it down below in the comments section, just so we can at least get a dialogue going about which UV Cure resins really seem to work for certain people. But by all means, talk about the application in which you're using them, because I think that's a really important piece to kind of help others depending on the type of tying that they're doing on a regular basis. The Solarez, it's worked for me. Again, I can't talk about too many of the other ones. I know Solarez is probably happy that I'm using theirs on here, but it's really been a great one at my Vice, and it's one that I encourage you to definitely investigate and look into. Well, with all that said, thank you so much for watching this fly tying tutorial. And if you have any questions or comments, you can email me at tcammisa@gmail.com, or as mentioned before, leave them down below in the comments section. If you'd like to watch more videos like this one, you can check out my website, which is charltonfeather.com. And once you're there, if you scroll down to the home page at the very bottom, you can sign up for occasional email updates. I talk about some of my fly tying appearances, new videos, any demos, or any shows in which I'm appearing. If you're into social media, you can find Charlton Feather on both Instagram and Facebook, and I'd love to connect with you that way. Once again, thank you so much for viewing this tutorial, and I'll see all of you next time.
I